Literally.
All right, we are recording, and are we streaming? Yes, here we are. Hello, welcome friends. Welcome back to those who are joining us again, and welcome to our new guests and our new friends who may be watching us in virtual land on Facebook Live and on YouTube. I know, right? It's kind of, we were talking about this yesterday, in fact. At the evening we had spoken word, which was fantastic. Dr. Anthony Lee did a phenomenal job putting that together. So if you haven't had a chance to check out that program, please do. 11 poets. It was beautiful. And one of the things we were talking about is how Zoom, there's been so many things that has allowed Zoom to connect with one another, to the point where, in fact, for tonight's program, we have an individual who will be joining us live from Norway, who will be chanting some Baha'i prayers. So,
wow.
It's like 4:00 in the morning at his time, but so gracious and will be joining us. So just fantastic. But in any case, I want to start today's afternoon. So we are continuing our afternoon lunches. And yesterday we had lunch with Rini, who made us some delicious cuisine from South Asia, and talked about her Hindu faith. And today we have Cantor Ilan Davidson, and I will first introduce Susan Brooks, who is a member of Temple Bethel. And Cantor Ilan was actually a president as well in the past of SCIC. But Susan will introduce Ilan and what we're doing today. And it's just an afternoon where we're getting together with friends and making some hummus, I think, and learning a bit about the Jewish faith. So Susan, I hand it over to you.
Thank you. Even though you already kind of introduced him, but that's
true. I did.
I'm Susan Brooks. Yes, I am a member of Temple Bethel with Cantor Ilan Davidson, who is joining us today. And I'm very proud of the tradition of Temple Bethel being involved in the South Coast Interfaith Council. As Ilan was a past president, we've had Rabbi Lieb, who I believe was a president, Rabbi Briskin, who was very involved. So the tradition just kind of continues. And so today, the temple has these programs called Cooking with the Cantor because he's multi-talented. And so today, Cantor Ilan Davidson is here with us, and he's going to show us how to make homemade hummus.
Homemade hummus. Oh my goodness. First of all, I want to wish everyone Chag Sameach, which means a very happy and festive holiday. We are in the middle of the holiday of Sukkot, the festival of booths. This is the festival that immediately follows the Jewish High Holy Days, which we just completed last week. And this is a harvest festival. This is our fall harvest festival. And so when I was asked to cook something, I was like, well, it's the harvest festival. And to me, the kinds of food that I love, especially in the fall, I guess it's year round really, but I love the foods that are just so stinking easy to make and that are really, really easy and really wonderful and remind me of home. And that, I think, for all of us, we all have those soul foods, if you will, from our homes that the minute we smell it or we taste it or just get the inkling that it's coming, we start having all of these memories that bubble up. Part of our Sukkot tradition is the tradition of ushpizin, which is the welcoming of those souls that we want to welcome into our sukkah, into our hut, to join with us. And traditionally, those ushpizin are people like Abraham and Sarah and Isaac and Jacob and Rebecca and Rachel and Leah and King David and Queen Esther and Moses and these traditional biblical characters. But we also have extended that tradition now to welcome those whom we have lost, those who are no longer with us on this earth. And so I kind of want to dedicate this particular cooking today to my mom of blessed memory. My mother passed away this past April at the age of 86. And it's very funny, we had a lot of conversations about food surrounding my mom after she passed away, and my nephews and nieces, all the kids were talking about Bubby's food, and how come I have Bubby's recipe for this, but it never quite tastes the same, And one of my nephews, in his very funny, dry sense of humor, said, I'm pretty sure it's the saliva. And we all said, what? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And he says, did you ever watch Bubby making hummus? She would like mix it, and then she'd put her finger in and put it in her mouth and taste it, and then she'd put her finger back in. You know, he says, I'm pretty sure it's the saliva that made it so good. So,
Whatever
so,
works,
so
right? There you go.
You'll forgive me if there's a little bit of tasting that happens here as we work, but because there always has to be just a little bit of tasting. So hummus is a two-step process, because the first thing that we have to make is the tahini, okay? And tahina is available in all your grocery stores. Usually you can find it in the kosher foods or international foods section of your store. And so I have here some Hadar by Barak tahini, sesame paste. So this is a sesame paste. It's made from sesame seeds that have been ground up. It comes out of the jar or out of the bottle very, very thick. This is not the way that we eat it. And anybody who says it is, walk away very fast. Okay, you'll see as I pour it out here, I'm going to pour it kind of in front. You can see it's a very thick kind of liquidy paste. Okay, and I'm putting it in my bowl here. So now what I want to do is I want to thin it out just a little bit. So I'm going to put a little bit of water. I'm going to fill up. What I always do is I fill up the jar about halfway to where it was with the tahina, and I fill it up with water, and I shake it again. And you got to really shake it up, because it'll settle and it'll become a very thick paste at the very bottom of your jar. So shaking it is very, very important. You'll also notice that the color will start to change as we start adding things. Right now, it's kind of a dark khaki. It kind of matches my pants, actually. It's kind of a dark khaki right now. By the time we're done, it's going to be a very beautiful, pale kind of cream color. So here I'm just going to add some water.
It's also a really good way to get your exercise in too.
It sure is. Absolutely. So I've added a little bit of water, and now I'm going to add some fresh lemon juice. Most Middle Eastern foods are going to have a lot of lemon juice. Okay. Now, depending on where you come from, will be about how much lemon there is in your hummus. Like the Lebanese have a lot of lemon in their hummus. It's a very lemony hummus. If you ever go to Open Sesame, I think is the restaurant in Long Beach, and they're kind of Lebanese originated, and their hummus is very lemony, and it's delicious, but very lemony. It's not exactly my cup of tea, but I still eat it because I never turn down a good hummus, even if it's not the way I'm used to it. So I'm putting in the juice. I'm going to start off with probably one lemon, maybe 1.5. I think I'll put 1.5 lemons into my tahina. And again, it's all about what you like and the flavors that you're looking for. So if you're writing this down, right now we're at 1.5 lemons. If I add more, I'll let you know so that you can change your recipe a little bit. All right, there's 1.5 lemons. And then we're going to put about 2 or 3 cloves of garlic. Now, I love cheats. Cheats are great. This is garlic stir-in paste. This is already pureed garlic, and 1 medium clove is about a teaspoon of this. And so I'm going to put a couple of cloves of garlic in here. There's probably about 1.5. There we go. That's about 3 cloves of garlic that I put in here. And my tahina, I'll usually make this by hand. My mom used to always make it in her Cuisinart, but I like making it by hand because I like to see how the consistency starts to change. I like to feel exactly what's happening with it. And my mom used to make her tahina really, really, really thin. I'm not a big fan of thin tahina, but I also
watch that thumb, Ilan. Watch that thumb.
I know.
Watch that thumb, my friend. And I
meaning during COVID, doesn't it?
You saw it.
Well, that's the thing. I want to make a note that Sarah Dean, who is a physician herself, and her husband, that looks delicious.
So you
she
can
made
see how the color changed, right?
Lighter.
It's a much lighter color.
Yeah. She made a note that we want to make sure that SCIC does not support the finger in the mouth and into the bowl. We strictly abide by the CDC guidelines specifically right now. So that disclaimer is out there. But yes.
All right, so I'm going to just take a little taste now. Oh, it's getting there. It needs a little more lemon. So you want to change your recipe to 2 lemons instead of 1.5. Because I think I remember even when I did this at home just recently, I was like, I needed more lemon.
I know they're pretty big lemons.
These are pretty big lemons, yes. So I'm gonna put another half a lemon in there. By the way, these are great tools. If you don't have a lemon squeezer like this, you should. They're so much easier than having to like clean things all the time and have a big bowl that gets all juiced up.
Hey, Ilan, while you're stirring that, can you tell us a little bit about you mentioned a little bit earlier, the high holy days in the Jewish faith tradition. Yeah. What does that mean?
So the high holy days are the festivals or the holidays of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Rosh Hashanah means literally the head of the year. It's the beginning of the Jewish New Year. We believe our tradition teaches that it's kind of like the birth of the world, if you will. Right now, I'm just throwing in a little bit of cayenne pepper. Yeah, I knew I was going to hear that from you.
Add some extra, Ilan.
I know. I put extra in mine. So on Rosh Hashanah, we celebrate the birth of the world, the beginning of the world, and the beginning of the Jewish year, of the calendar year. And let's see how it is now. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Want some?
You know me. We're close.
Exactly.
It's all good.
I'm going to throw in just a dash of salt, just because it just enhances all the flavors. Just a dash.
I gotta ask. I'm sorry, I'm butting in.
No, please.
What is the difference between, and I Google it every time and I always forget, kosher salt, sea salt, regular salt? Oh, please don't spotlight me.
What is that?
You're a past president too. You get to be spotlit.
Yes, and so is Richard Brehove, who's here, and Rini, all our presidents. I think that would be great.
Hi, Rini. All right. Oh, that's really good. All right, that was perfect. That's just what I needed. So the difference between different salts. Okay, first of all, I tend to use sea salt for everything that I do. As you can see, here's a thing of sea salt. I'm not a fan of iodized salt. I don't see why we need the iodine. I'm sure my doctor friends will tell me that there's a reason, but I'm a fan of just sea salt. I find it to be saltier with less. It's a saltier flavor using less salt. So for those that are watching their salt intake, sometimes all you have to do is just change the kind of salt you're using, because you can use a lot less and get a much saltier flavor using sea salt. Now, kosher salt versus sea salt, there's not a huge difference. Oftentimes it's about the thickness of the grind. So kosher salt is usually kind of a rock salt, if you will. And the reason why it's called kosher salt is not because it's kosher. It's called kosher salt because it's used for koshering. It's used for making things kosher. So when we want to make meat kosher, what do we have to do? We have to remove the blood from it, technically. And so the salt actually draws out all the blood. And the reason why they use such a rock salt is because it doesn't make your meat extra salty, because while it absorbs, it doesn't get as much absorbed into the meat itself. So I
did not know that.
Yeah,
there you go.
There you go. I didn't either. That was fantastic.
That was
Thank you for sharing that.
Hey, Cheryl, I'm going to ask you to spotlight Sarah and Richard, and if Rini is there as well. These are our past presidents. One of the things we wanted to also do is kind of highlight our past presidents and current presidents as well. So we have Sarah Dean, Richard. Hey, Richard. Oh, we miss you, Richard.
I see you.
Richard was just
miss you guys
previously
too.
with us. And then Rini,
Richard,
I think.
I don't know that Richard misses us. He's had such wonderful things happen.
He just got married.
I missed you guys. I missed you guys.
He's like, Milia who? I'm sorry, what?
Richard.
No,
Richard, tell us about newlywed life. How are you doing?
oh, it's great. It's great. Thank you. Yes, we're
Aw.
getting things together. We've got 2 houses with the furniture to put together. So we have
Oh,
the
wow.
opposite problem of young newlyweds, right?
I love
Um,
it. Mazel tov, Richard. That's so great to hear. That's
Yes.
great news.
Amelia,
great
I
news.
know Richard doesn't miss being on the WhatsApp.
She does, Richard. Richard, you do. Is that why you automatically take yourself off? I'm like, add.
I'm hearing a lot about the WhatsApp in SCIC. I'm very happy that we didn't use it when I was there.
Hey.
Hey, you would get pings from Amelia like 2 in the morning on WhatsApp. And if you
I got
weren't
her away
careful
from her.
and if you weren't careful and adjusting on your phone would go ding ding at 2 in the morning saying you got a WhatsApp.
I was
Yeah.
just, letting you know that I'm thinking of you guys at all times of the day and night. You're welcome. Go ahead,
I used to
Elon.
get-
Continue.
Richard, I used to get direct texts from Amelia at 2 in the morning. It's okay.
Or phone calls. Hi, Elon. Hey, it's me. How are you? Are you up
I
and
saw you
praying?
answered my text,
Yeah,
so I
get
knew you
direct
were
phone
awake.
calls. Yeah.
Yes.
Richard, how many?
You are missing out on all the pictures of Zara, though.
That's true.
That is
I-
the nice side of the WhatsApp.
That is true. I actually have to send those to Richard separately. I will do those, Richard. I will send those to you separately because you get to see. Yes. Anyway, sorry, Elon.
Richard,
Sorry. This is
so
what
one
happens.
One more question for Richard. Richard, how many days or weeks have you been married now?
1 month and 1 day.
Oh,
Wow.
Who's
That's
counting?
awesome.
This
Oh,
is the
that's
22nd. Yeah, August 21st we were married. So it was 1 month, 1 calendar month, and plus 1 day.
Oh, well,
super
congratulations.
exciting.
We're so happy for you.
But who's counting?
So for the world that's watching, that's out there, these are Saradine was my last immediate president. She's a member of the Muslim community. Richard was president before Sarah, a member of the Catholic community. Susan is currently president right now. Rini was president before them, as a member of the Hindu community. And Elon, you were before Rini or after?
I think it was 2 after Rini, if I'm not
In the
mistaken.
middle.
In the middle. Oh, there's Rini.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I
In
was
the
in the
middle.
middle.
I can't access my camera somehow, so.
Oh, that's right, because Rini, you ended up serving as president again, didn't you?
Yeah.
You silly lady. I love it.
Telling me, Ilan.
I love
Anyway,
it, I
so we
love it.
wanted to just kind of introduce our leadership as well. So sorry, Elon, please continue.
It's
with
totally
your-
okay. So we're moving on to the hummus now. Now, hummus is actually garbanzo beans or chickpeas. That's what hummus is. But the reason why we make the tahina first is because we're going to use the tahina in the hummus, in the chickpeas, to thin it out a little bit. Okay, so I've got about 2 cans of chickpeas in here drained. I drained the chickpeas, so you don't want to put it in with all the juice that's in the can with them. That's just silliness. Okay, and because we want to be able to add our own stuff to it. So we're going to add some more garlic because welcome to Middle Eastern cooking, lots of garlic. So I've got about 3 cloves of garlic again. Oh, this is so good. And I'm going to add another 2 lemons into here.
There were 2 hours.
I'm going to add 2 full lemons, just like I did with the tahina.
That's
So-
four.
So
Just
it's
in
4
that little
total.
batch.
Yeah, it's 4 total lemons, exactly.
Wow.
Now, I'm pretty sure that if I was Lebanese, I would probably be adding like 4 lemons to this because there is so much lemon in their hummus. And it's definitely a little bit of a different flavor, but still delicious.
Richard, Rini cooked for us yesterday. Elon's cooking for us today. What are you cooking for us tomorrow?
You don't want. I need supervision in the kitchen. You don't want me to be cooking.
Wait,
Well,
when's
that's-
Sarah Dean gonna cook? Sarah, what are you
I'm
making?
an assistant. I assisted yesterday, so
Sous-
I
Sous chef,
yeah.
sous chef. Yes.
Yeah, in training.
Yes.
I held the camera.
All right, so I put in all that yummy lemon, and any other lemon is going to come basically from our friends that's already in the tahina. Okay, so now, and I'm going to put, because I know Amelia would be upset if I didn't. I'm going to put some more cayenne.
There you go.
And don't you worry, Amelia, because we're still going to put cayenne on top when I plate it.
Oh, Lord.
So
Oh, Lord.
it's not actually that spicy, I promise.
Rini, do you think Pastor Steve could have handled all that cayenne?
I think so. There wasn't that much that went in. I'm watching.
Yeah, it's really not very much. It's just a sprinkling. And now I'm going to put the top on, and we're just going to start to pulse it and get it all to come together.
Uh-oh. Did we lose
Well,
Ilan?
I got the
Oh,
right
good.
mix right off the bat. I'll be shocked. But I probably put about 3/4 of a cup to a cup of tahina that I made into the chickpeas. And let me just check on. Now this becomes about the texture that you want. So I forgot to bring spoons, which is why I'm using a knife. So all my doctor friends out there, don't like freak out that I'm. Oh, that's been pretty good. Needs a little bit more tahina because right now I've got kind of a the texture right now is a little grainy, and I don't like it too grainy.
Mm.
So I'm going to add some more of my tahina in there to smooth it out.
So during these high holy days and when you have special Sabbath and when you have dinners and people gathering, is hummus a staple? Will we, if we go to someone's, a member, one
It
of our
depends
Jewish
on it.
brothers?
I wouldn't say that hummus is a Jewish staple as much as it's a Middle Eastern staple. So if you're Jewish, my family's from Israel, and so it was always a staple in our food. It is a staple at URJ Camp Newman, our camp. Every single Friday night, we have homemade, fresh-made hummus, which is delicious. And by the way, I know I'm teaching you how to make it from scratch, which really is the best way. But if you just don't have time to make it from scratch, go to Trader Joe's and get yourself the Mediterranean hummus. It's actually made by my best friend, Elliot Swartz. He was the chef that designed it and created it. And his company that he no longer owns now still makes it. And it's some of the best hummus you can actually buy. I'm not a fan of Sabra. I'm sorry. It's just not my favorite.
This is not a statement by the SCIC. Go ahead.
No, it's not.
Yes.
I feel like we're on The View and you have to do the legal statements, right? It's like, so I'm going to mix this now again. Sabra is a fine product. It's just not my favorite, but I highly recommend the Mediterranean hummus at Trader Joe's if you don't have time to make it yourself. As you can see, though, it doesn't take a lot of time to make it yourself. So getting back to the High Holy Days, after we celebrate Rosh Hashanah, we have 10 days in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and we call those the 10 days of awe. AWE, not look at those cute pictures of Amelia's baby. No, that's not, it's not quite that 10 days of awe. But that would have actually been really cute, Amelia. Next year for the 10 days of awe, we should have a different picture of your child.
Done. Done. Yes.
I like it. Oh, that's really good. All right. I actually made it a little bit too lemony for me, but it's delicious.
So what happens in those 10 days of awe? Is there, what's the significance?
These are the 10 days where we are supposed to be really taking some time for introspection, thinking about the ways that we have fallen short. Not only the ways that we've fallen short with God, but the ways that we've fallen short with each other. And we're taught that for sins against God, God can forgive, but for sins against other people, only those people can forgive. And therefore, what we do is during that time, we should be reaching out to our friends and asking forgiveness for the things that we have done that may have hurt them and things like that. So I just realized that what I forgot, I'll be right back. Talk to Susie for a second. I forgot a spoon so I can plate this nicely for you.
Where are you guys right now? Are you at the temple or are you at Ilan's house?
Yeah, we are. We're at the temple. We were going to go outside, and if we have time, we'll take the camera outside and show everybody the sukkah, which is the hut you build for the holiday of Sukkot. It's just very, very hot outside, so we didn't want to do this part outside. So we're in one of the bigger rooms at the temple where we have classes and whatnot.
All right, here we go. So I'm going to take kind of a salad plate. Although I will tell you that when I was a kid, my dad would take a full dinner plate and make a plate of hummus and finish it off all by himself.
Wow.
Because we love hummus in our family. By the way, this hummus that I've made and the tahina, if you put it in just a like a Pyrex container or a Tupperware in your refrigerator, it'll last a good week and a half. If it lasts that long, call me because I'm going to be in shock that you haven't been eating enough of it. But because it should last a good week and a half before it starts to get a little bit old. And I highly recommend it. So I'm going to take some of the hummus and I'm going to plate it on my plate. And then I'm going to take my spoon and I'm going to kind of make a well, if you will. Whoops. I'm trying not to drop my plate in the process. Where's my towel now so I can make my plate look nicer? Hold on. You're not seeing this. All right. It's all good. So you see, I've got this little well here now.
Contaminated.
So now you can see the well in the middle.
Oh, yes.
And now I'm gonna take some of the tahina and put it right in the middle of my well. And what that does is it creates this moat around the tahina. So what do we do with the moat? It's the Middle East. We're gonna put some olive oil because you got to put a little bit of olive oil in your moat. It's very important.
So any specific olive oil? There's so many kinds out in this
Whichever
world.
kind you like, really. I'm not very specific on that.
I think if you're not cooking, then you can go extra virgin, right?
Yes.
And I think that's healthy, the healthiest.
Yes, absolutely. So now I put some olive oil. Now, because I'm making this plate for myself and for Melia,
Yes.
I'm going to put a little bit more of my cayenne, which adds a beautiful color to it. And then finally, I'm going to add just a little bit of diced parsley all around it.
And if you're Ashkenazi Jew and your family came from Russia where they use no spices, you can use paprika to make it look really pretty.
And hold on, I'm going to take the camera off the stand for a second here. Yeah, people do use paprika instead of the cayenne. I think it's very silly. But
I'll
here
let
we
you
go.
and Susan work that out.
So
Paprika was home
here's
cooking.
how it ends up looking in the end.
Oh, nice.
So you can see it looks really good.
Deliciousness.
It looks like serious deliciousness. Now you're
Does.
going to say to me, so what do we do now? You know, we've got all these little parts that are all together here. So do we take a spoon? Do we mix it up? No, we take a pita and we mix
There
it
it
up.
is.
Okay. And that way, every single scoop that you take on your pita is personally mixed by you.
Very authentic, Sarah Lee, too.
Very authentic from Sarah Lee. And I'm going to give this one to Susan along with the plate that I just made. And Susan, you're going to be our taste tester. You tell me what you think. So take a piece, stir it all up. Yeah.
No pressure. Perfect.
Ah,
Very
It's delicious. No, Ilan's a great cook. No doubt it's delicious. So then let me ask you this. While I know it's already 12:30, but just so that, because one of the things that obviously we can't escape, and Ilan and Susan and I were talking about this before we came on live, but obviously the pandemic and the restrictions and the
Right.
limitations, how does that affect your high holy days? How has, I mean, I think one of the things that all faith communities had to do is we had to learn how to adapt, right?
right.
where
We all had to learn to pivot this year,
right,
and,
right.
And so we were able to have multi-access high holy days, which meant basically that that we had some people here in person, and then this year, and if you are representing a faith community, a church or a synagogue. Oh, by the way, I left off like one ingredient that I have to just tell you about. I don't have it here today, but if you really like things spicy, then you have to add some zhug. Zhug is an amazing Yemenite spice, and you can actually buy it. It's not quite as spicy there, but you can actually buy it at Trader Joe's now. I just discovered it there recently.
How do you spell that, Elon?
Yeah. How do you spell that, Ilan?
It's spelled like Zhoug or something like that.
Wow.
And they have it in the refrigerator section, kind of where they've got their tzatziki and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a really wonderful, spicy, kind of cilantro-ish, delicious spice. My family's housekeeper when I was growing up was this incredible Yemenite woman, and she, Kaadia, I'll never forget her. She was also kind of my babysitter when I was growing up. Whenever we were in Israel, and Kaadia was a remarkable woman, and she knew that my father and I loved zhug. That she knew so much that we loved it that she would make us jars like this to take back to the United States. And those jars would last until our next trip to Israel.
Wow.
Because we would make them last. So anyway, so we had multi-access services. Getting back to that, I'm sorry, I digressed.
No, it's okay.
Amelia's used to that with me.
So our services during the high holy days, our services like every day? Is that how it?
So on Rosh Hashanah, we had a morning service and an evening service, or an evening service and a morning service. Sorry, I shouldn't have taken a bite when you're asking me questions. And on Yom Kippur, we start in the evening and then we go all day the next day because we're fasting for 25 hours. Right. So during that fast of Yom Kippur, while we are being introspective, we stay in the synagogue pretty much all day. It keeps us from thinking about food. And, it has us focus. It has us focus more on our sins and things like that for the day. But so they're the bookends are where the services are, and in the middle are these 10 days of awe, which is time for personal reflection and personal introspection. It's not services and stuff like that. And there is always a Shabbat in between. There is a Sabbath in between, and that's called Shabbat Shuvah, which is the Sabbath of return. And we spend a little bit of time during that Sabbath also thinking about all the prayers of the season and thinking about our sins and things like that. So it really is it's a beautiful time of the year. And I just want to recommend for all of you who are involved with your faith communities and are trying to figure out how to include more people, how to have your services be seen in a more beautiful way all throughout Facebook and things like that. We brought on a company this year called Live Control, and they're actually a live production company where they virtually control 2 cameras in your sanctuary that they give you, and you install them, and then they control those so they can zoom in and zoom out, and people get a much better experience rather than just a big wide angle look at your altar or whatever, right? And I really believe that it made a huge difference for our community this year, having Live Control, because even when we had things that were in video, excuse me, they were able to zoom in on the screens that we have in the sanctuary. So everyone that was watching on Zoom or on Facebook Live or on YouTube could see exactly what we were all seeing in the sanctuary. And it really made a huge difference to our community. People really loved it. And they didn't have to see like little itty bitty Cantor and little itty bitty Rabbi on with their podiums. They could see our faces nice and close up, like we're seeing Milia right now. You know, they could get that experience of being zoomed in on us when the rabbi was preaching or when I was singing something. And it really made a big difference for the whole community.
Ilan, I want to, and I will, for those, I'm going to be cognizant of the time. We'll end in a few minutes, but you know, one of the things Susan and I think it was last year, Susan, was it last year or the year before we were texting one another, and we were texting one another of like failed images of adequately. Oh, Ilan, we lost your live.
Sorry, I'm coming right back.
Oh, okay. We there we go. Oh, okay.
There we go.
We were texting each other images of like, people who meant well, but they just completely inappropriately wishing people certain things. Like, and I say this because especially on Yom Kippur, because obviously I'm Muslim, so and it affects me because I'm like, no. And I think about my Jewish friends when they get these greetings, and it comes, I'm sure it comes from a place of, well intent and not
Of
to
course.
be, but I think that just, one of the things for the SDIC, we're so education is such an important thing for us, right? And not just a book education where you sit in class and you're like, this is Judaism, but what we're doing right now, where we have fun, but we also learn about one another, because it's so important. Because I know Yom Kippur is one of these days where, it's a very sacred day. It's a day of asking for forgiveness. It's a somber day. It's a day of, recognizing your shortcomings, pleading to God to forgive, others to forgive. But whenever like wishing you a joyous Yom Kippur, I'm like, oh, but no, but so, but again, but that I think and it's and it's not just the Jewish community. I mean, certainly, like I've had images where people are like, oh, have yourself a I hope your Eid dinner is delicious with cooked ham and everything else. And we're like, oh, we don't eat ham. But anyways, I say this because I think, that literacy, that education is so important, right? Because that's how we build relationships. That's how when that I know that, hey, that's not how you adequately do that. It deepens our relationship, right? Because I respect that. And so I think that's really, really important as well, that we are, and our religion 101, that's one of the reasons Ilan, we kind of started that in your tenure, right?
We did.
And when we did, and it's been going on now for 3-4 years now, but again, education, it's so important, right? Understanding what they are.
And at the High Holy Days, we wish each other Shana Tova Umetuka, a year of goodness and sweetness. And then on Yom Kippur, we actually wish each other Gemar Chatima Tova. Gemar Chatima Tova, which means may you be inscribed and sealed for a year of goodness. And these are the wishes. And if you want to wish someone something in English, you can wish them a thoughtful or an easy fast, because everybody is fasting that day. And I think that can carry over also to how you greet your Muslim friends during Ramadan. Right. To wish them an easy fast or a thoughtful fast. I personally wish people a thoughtful fast, because I believe that the fast maybe shouldn't always be easy. Sometimes our fasts are not meant to be easy. They're meant to be thought-provoking and give us time. Hold on. Sorry, that's because I did not put my phone on private or on what I can, like airplane mode or anything, which is silly. So I'm getting phone calls. So
okay.
I'm sure it's people commenting on what I'm teaching and saying, no, you're not right.
They're saying, stop sticking your fingers in the food.
Yes, hello, Ilan. But so great. So
let me, do you want me to take you out to the sukkah?
That's what I was just going to say. Before we kind of conclude today, we would love that.
Yes.
And explain a little bit. I know for a lot of our viewers, you'll see lots of pictures of sukkahs at home, at the temples, and each one is a little bit different, but they have the same. The key things are the same. Yeah.
So this is our sukkah. The sukkah is a temporary structure. It cannot be a permanent structure. You can only have one permanent wall at most in a sukkah. And it reminds us of when we were wandering in the desert for 40 years, because nobody would ask for directions. So when we were wandering in the desert for 40 years, we would build these structures wherever it was that we would land, if you will. The funny thing is, you would think that after coming across the same structure a few times, you'd realize you were walking in circles, but we won't get into that. So, and while we're in the sukkah, we have these other symbols, the lulav and the etrog. The lulav and the etrog. The etrog is a citron. A citron, it has to be grown in Israel in order to be kosher for this holiday. And this little piece on top, which is called the pitome, this little piece on top cannot be broken off, or it can't be used for ritual purposes. It has to be whole. And then our lulav itself is made up of 3 species. It's made up of the myrtle, which represents our eyes. and the willow, which represents our lips, and of course the palm, which represents our spine. And we're taught that when we take our heart together with our eyes and our lips and our spine, and we bring them all together, when we bring them all together in all our deeds and everything that we do, when we do things that are upright, when we speak words of love and kindness and joy, when we look for all the goodness in the world, and when we follow our hearts for all the right things, then we are truly bringing about a time that is representative of the Holy One of Being. And so we say a blessing together. We say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat lulav. And then we shake the lulav in all directions, in front, in back, to the side, to the other side, up high and down low, representing the fact that God is all around us. And we take a smell of the etrog to remind us of the sweetness and the beauty of this season. And I just want to thank everyone for learning about making hummus with me today, seeing our beautiful sukkah behind me. By the way, the artwork at the front of the sukkah, I just have to brag a little bit. This artwork at the very top, this was all done by my eldest daughter, Jordan.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
All done freehand.
That's fantastic.
Wow.
It's pretty awesome. She finished
Way to
that
go,
just before she
Jordan.
moved to San Diego.
Aw, she's starting college.
She started at UC San Diego. Tomorrow is the first day of classes. Yay!
My goodness.
It's crazy. And then this particular sukkah, the design was done by our artist Beit Midrash, which is a group of artists at the temple that come together once a month to study and to learn text, and then to apply that to their art. And so the walls are all lined with their art. And then the back wall, as I mentioned, is lined with pictures of our ushpazim. These are people that we love who are no longer with us and who we wanted to welcome into our sukkah. So, and then here's some more art on this wall. So
It's beautiful.
So we really want to wish everyone a joyous festival of Sukkot. May your harvest be bountiful. May your lives be filled with the freshness of God's wonder and gifts. And may you know that every day you are protected under a chupat shalom, under a canopy, under a sukkot shalom, a house, a shelter of peace. And may that be God's will for all of us in this coming year.
Amen.
And lest Amelia come beat me up, I have to do my role as president.
Do it.
And make our pitch.
Yes.
We hope that you enjoyed today. This is part of Long Beach Gives, where we are raising money to make all these programs possible, to keep Amelia and our wonderful staff person, Cheryl, paid so that they can keep us all in line to do these programs. You can go to our YouTube channel and see all the programs we've been doing for the last year and a half during the pandemic, to our Facebook page. If you enjoyed today, you can share. This will be recorded and posted so you can share it with others. But please, please, please go to our Long Beach Gives link that you can find on our Facebook page or on our website and make a donation today, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Give a lot.
Yes, please. And we all have these peer pages that we've created, and I created one for Ilan. You're welcome, Ilan. And
Thank you. Thank you for doing that, because I haven't had time to create it.
Yes, that's right. So please, you could go to Ilan's page, you could go to Susan's page, you could go to, we have a number of about 29 peer fundraisers. And I'm happy to say our goal is 25,000, and we're above the midpoint. So we're a little about 13,000 something. Yes. So we have about $12,000 to raise. And, it's from here. The day of giving is actually tomorrow, which is designated as the day, but obviously people can give ahead of time as well. And that's what we're encouraging. So we would be so grateful. And Susan, you're absolutely right. It's, it allows us to continue the work of the council to create programs like this. Ilan was actually graciously took the cooking with the Cantor, and you remember we did it in Elena's house and Redondo's Center for Spiritual Living, and we hope that we can do that again in the years to come. But again, it's all about creating these opportunities that bring people together, that are from different faith communities, different cultures, and allow us to really build friendships and a sense of community by honoring our differences and celebrating our differences and uniting on those core principles that unite us as human beings. So we encourage you to please do support our work. And we thank you so much, Susan, with your crutches. You've had a hard year. You're, not just all of us, I think, had a hard year, just like mentally and psychologically and spiritually. It's been tough. And Susan added physical to that. So thank you for taking the time to do this. Thank you, Ilan. It's always a pleasure to be with you. And thank you for always being such a close part of the SCIC. Richard Breho, our other president, Rini, Sarah, all of you guys. Don, you're going to have to just become a member of the SCIC. Don has been so graciously participating in all of our events this week. Please say hello to, I don't know if you know Ilan, but introduce yourself, please, I would.
Hi, I'm a great admirer of what you're doing in SCIC, and I'd like to support it more. I donated some today. And I'm with the Orange County Interfaith Network. We have a little bit of overlap in territory in North Orange County, and so we're natural allies. We have 9 interfaith councils in Orange County that we affiliate with, and a bunch of other interfaith organizations that we try to deal with, like Interfaith Task Force and groups like that. And so we'd like to bring everybody together in a broader sense. We're having a meeting with the Interfaith Council presidents tomorrow that I'm running at noon. That you won't be able to join because you're busy with your own things. But, anyway, we're also bringing in San Diego Interfaith Councils and Reverend Dr. Stephen Albert, who formed the World Interfaith Network and created Interfaith Awareness Week and stuff like that. So we'd like to broaden our connections in Southern California. So anyway, thank you for the wonderful work you're doing. It's inspired, and I'd like to help in any way I can. And Marshall, the hundreds of people I know who are involved in this. I've been involved in this for over 20 years. So.
There you go. Thank you so much, Don. And thank you for being with us all week this week. We appreciate that. Thank you for all of you who joined us. I know it's 12:48 and we apologize, but this is what happens when we all get together. But we hope that you'll continue to join us for the remaining programs. And Cheryl, I'm just going to ask you to put that flyer up real quick. And then after that, we'll have any parting words from Susan or Ilan, and we'll be good to go while she's there. We go. So this completes our 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, our 8th program of the week that we've done, which is great. What's coming up today is at 7 o'clock, our evening program. Tonight will be Hope Through Music, an evening of song and dance. And again, I encourage you, if you did not see last night's spoken word, it's on our YouTube channel, it's on our Facebook as well. It was just a beautiful hour of these 11 poets sharing their poetry about hope, and just beautiful. So tonight promises to be equally as beautiful. And then tomorrow we'll start out the day with some meditation and some spiritual practices from Native American, especially Native American faith community, particularly Chief Ramos will be joining us. Tomorrow afternoon, the dinosaurs come back and they're hitting the streets of Long Beach. What does that mean? Well, tune in and you'll find out what that means. So tomorrow at noon, that would be great. And tomorrow night, we have the Religion 101, which is a monthly program that SCIC does the fourth Thursday of the month in the evening. James Light, who's a board member of the SCIC and member of the Latter-day Saint Church, does a phenomenal job of putting this together every month. So we have that on Thursday evening, and Friday we'll begin the day with some Buddhist meditation, and then we'll gather together at noon again, just to kind of have a rewind and recap. And just a time for reflection. And Sarah, did you have okay. Sarah, why didn't you ask, since you're...
I was just listening to Don share, and what comes across is that this work is really important to him, or supporting and being in these spaces. So I was just curious as to, and I know this could be a big answer, but just in a nugget, and anyone who feels inclined to answer, in the moment that we're in today, in your view, why is this interfaith work needed and relevant?
I think that I'll start to answer that.
Wow.
I think that we have been living so much in a divided world for the past several years, and we have been seeing that divisiveness become even deeper. And the people of faith have the ability to heal that. We have the ability to come together, to listen, to be active listeners, and to support each other. And being an active listener doesn't always mean agreeing or even finding agreement. But being an active listener means coming together and trying to find an understanding, even if we disagree still at the end. And I think that that's what our Interfaith Council has always stood for. And I think that that's what all of our interfaith communities strive toward, is the ability to live in harmony with each other and to understand each other, and really be able to embrace our brothers and our sisters and our siblings, embrace all of them for who they are and where they are, and be able to support each other. And I just want to say about the fundraising aspect of this week, one of the things I was taught about fundraising for many, many years, and I was taught this by a very dear friend of mine, is that we shouldn't give what is easy and we shouldn't give what hurts, but we should always give an amount that we feel, because when it's enough that we feel it, then we know that we are actually participating to the best of our ability. So I hope that all of you feel your gifts to the SCIC over this week. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Ilan. That was great. That was great. So, Sarah, did you want others to share their little nuggets as well before we conclude?
Sure. Does anyone else?
Yeah.
I think Don wanted to share something.
Well, how's this for an idea? How about creating communities of compassion, understanding, and peace between people of different faiths and cultures? That's not familiar.
Yay, Don!
When is Don joining our board?
Yay! We'll talk later. Don.
And I go to Interfaith Council meetings where these relationships you mentioned about are, and it's like a model for the way the world should be. People getting along with each other and working on joint events. There are a lot of them going on this month and next month, and a lot of them this week. And it's a great model for the world, and it's important right now. We deal with the divisiveness that Cantor talked about, that may tear the country apart. I think we're a key to that, and marshaling other faith groups. We're not currently in interfaith. So it'd be nice to leverage the good we're doing out there more, even more, if we can. So that's a big topic to talk about.
Yeah, and I think I'm just going to leave people with this thought that the word divisiveness that Cantor Ilan just used, divisiveness is different than differences or conflict.
Yes.
You can have conflict. You can have a real conflict of, maybe two sides have needs that are in conflict with each other. That's one thing, but the divisiveness is very different, where you're actively dehumanizing one another and you really have no meaningful intention to find resolution or to find wholeness as a society. I mean, so separating out the voices that we're hearing in the media and our spaces, that is this an effort to be divisive, or is this an effort to really understand needs that can be in conflict? So that word is important to unpack. Thank you both so much.
Right. Richard, did you want to add anything before we conclude? I don't want to.
I just want to say that the past, 45, 50 minutes, to me is what the SC is all about. What did we do this afternoon? We had fun with cooking. We told jokes, but at the same time, simultaneously, we're learning about things. We're learning about things not from some talking head on the TV. We're learning from somebody who's actually practicing the faith and knows what they're talking about and is doing it every day. And at the same time, we learned a whole bunch of stuff, right? The people here that are in the interfaith business learned a bunch of stuff today, and we had fun doing it.
And we wrapped up watching Ilan polish off a plate of hummus there.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what we're all about here.
That's what it's supposed to look like at the end.
There you go. There you go.
Another thing I like to explore is God is trying to give us messages through prayer and whatever, and inspiration. And we're each getting a little piece of that, or pieces of that, filtered through our tradition, the time, and human beings, whatever. But if we get together, we can sort of piece more together and get a broader understanding of our own faith groups, and maybe add some good things that were compatible with our own faith beliefs. And by the way, from the other day, Malia, about how atheism can be a religion or spirituality, it is a belief system. We all have belief systems, and we all share those and enhance each other's and broaden it. I like looking more broadly than just spirituality or religion.
Right. And Don was actually referring to this morning. We had our morning session on meditation and spirituality from the Christian faith, and you guys are welcome to watch it. It's online. But I think exactly we were talking about also this concept of faith and spirituality. What does that mean? What does atheism mean? Is that, belief systems? And I think, for me, what I wanted to highlight, and one of the things that why this organization and interfaith work is so dear to my heart, is because I think one of the key things that we do is we provide a safe environment, right? We provide an environment in which we can have dialogue about these things that are so key and central to who we are. And we do it in a way that we're not being threatening, nor are we feeling threatened by the fact that we're engaging in these conversations. And at the same time, what's really, and we'll end it at this, and I apologize, I know it went quite long, but at the same time, by engaging in these conversations, we're not lessening who we are. I become a better Muslim by learning about Judaism and seeing the commonalities that tie us together. Richard, he used to say this often. He becomes a better Catholic by seeing the commonalities that unite us all together. So I think that's also really something important, that we don't negate the differences, but rather we find a way to honor and celebrate it, learn from it, and make us better as who we are, whatever faith or no faith that we may have. And I think that's really, really important. And we joke a lot. I tend to smile a lot and laugh a lot, but I think Richard, Ilan's laughing right there. Yeah. We shared a lot of laughs over these years, which is great. Which is great. But at the end of the day, this work is really, it is important, because it is something, faith and spirituality and religion, it's a central part of who so many people are. And I think having a platform in which we can learn about one another, which we can share the commonalities, I think it's so needed and so important. So I thank all of you for being a part of this family, for being a part of our interfaith family. And I thank you out there for also being a part of our family. No doubt we can't do this work without you. And so we thank you for your support. We thank you for your willingness to be with us and your commitment to the success of this council. And we hope that we'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock when we have the music and the dance, and then the rest of the programs on Thursday and Friday. And please, Long Beach Gives, you can go on there, type in South Coast Interfaith Council, and you'll see our page, you'll see Ilan's page, you'll see Susan's and the rest of us. Please do make a donation, whatever you're able to. No amount is too small or too big. So thank you all again. And I look forward, Ilan, if you get on the road right now, I should have the hummus at my house within an hour.
That's
so
right.
Please,
Absolutely.
just, and I'm looking forward to it. So there you go. So thank you all so much. And thank you, Cheryl, which we don't always see Cheryl, but the office admin for SCIC, who is she does what she does. I do what I can do and what we can do because Cheryl does what she does. So we thank you so much for that. And we will see you at 7. We'll see you at 7 tonight. All right. Take care, guys. Thank you, Ilan. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, have a good afternoon.